This is a great honor for every fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm honored to be in the NFL.
What can I say? Mamba out.
All right, well, it's happening, everybody. Welcome to the afternoon show presented by ESEN. I'm Chris Gonzalez, joined by Tony Gonzalez and Jay McLovin. How's it going?
Going good. Huh? You've had a great day, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
I'm completely devastated and depressed, but other than that, I'm doing great.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough one last night. Jump right into the NCAA college basketball finals, Florida versus Houston.
Yeah.
What was the final score? 65-63, I think.
65-63.
Yeah, Florida got that national championship. I predicted right. I had Florida, Houston in the finals, and Florida winning. That's what I picked before the tournament. But it was a crazy game.
Houston winning.
Huh?
You were with me, remember? You picked Houston.
No, I had Florida all along.
Oh, did you have Florida?
I had Houston in the finals.
Maybe it was Frankie. Maybe it was Frankie that had.
I had Houston in the finals, but I had Florida winning. That's who I picked to win it. Yeah. But man, it was a good game. I mean,
yeah,
the game reminded me a little bit of Houston and Duke.
Yeah, it did. It did. I felt that Houston actually shot better and came out more aggressive and was more productive in the first half than they were against Duke. I just felt that, towards the end, a couple of, things didn't go Houston's way. One, Tolgert, their number one defensive guy, fouls out with, I think, 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. But, really, that game was exactly the way I thought it was going to be. It was going to be chippy. It was going to be scrappy. It was going to be a little sloppy at times because both of those teams are just super scrappy teams, and it went exactly the way I thought it was going to go. And ultimately, it came down to Houston just not being able to execute, that final play. They're only down by 2, had 4 or 5 ticks on the clock. They should have been able to at least get a shot up. And the fact that they couldn't get a shot up, that was devastating.
At 22 seconds.
Yeah.
It
just didn't go the way they wanted.
Yeah, Florida,
and execution is everything, right?
Yeah, Florida played great defense. I seen a guy on Facebook just hammering on saying that they completely got out coached, and I disagree with that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Florida's coach did a great job, but I think Sampson did a good job too. I think they had a play drawn up, and it got stopped. It didn't work out. Same way with Duke. I mean, people criticize Duke's coach. I disagree with that. They drew up a play. It didn't work. It happens sometimes. That's just part of it. Florida, I mean, reminding me of the Duke-Florida game where Duke was up on Houston by 14 and Houston came back. Houston had like a 12, 13-point lead, and Florida came back. That's why it kind of reminded me of so much of that. And it was a really good game, man. Congratulations to Florida. I did see ESPN put out their way too early picks for number 1 next year. They're saying Houston's going to be the number 1 team. They said they got some real good people coming in.
Well, they definitely got 3 top 20 ESPN 100 players coming in. I think one of them's at like 6 out of the 20 and 13 out of the 20 and something. I think it's maybe 10 or 11 out of 20. I mean, they got 3 good guys coming in to go along with Toggle, and also Sharp. So, and then of course I got to imagine that Kelvin Sampson's going to go to the transfer portal. I think Uzan, their point guard, looks like he's going to turn pro. So I bet you he's going to – I have a feeling he's going to go to the transfer portal, try to find an experienced point guard to line up with the other guys. And I have a feeling – they're going to put out a good team. They got the right winning culture. They got a lot of top players and talent-wise coming back. They got some experience there. They got a good defensive guy. So I don't know how far Houston's going to go next season, but I do think that they're going to go pretty deep. I would imagine they go deep.
And plus you got Sampson. He's a hell of a coach, so that definitely helps. But it's hard to say because you got so many teams. There's going to be that transfer portal. Players moving around. So
For sure.
Who knows who's going to have what by the time it's over with? Chris, what was your take on the game last night?
It was a good game. And I told you this last night. I think what cost Houston that game last night was the first half. They played about as good as they could in that first half. Turned Florida over like 8 times in the first half. Florida had 8 or 9 turnovers in the first half, but Florida was still only a 3-point game. I think that's what really killed them was that Texas played almost perfect really in that first half, and Florida was still there. And then in the second half, it was kind of, I agree with you in a little bit of way that was kind of comparable to the Duke game. The only difference was the Duke lead was double-digit lead was late in the second half.
Yeah.
Where this lead was earlier in the second half, and Florida kept chipping away at it. And then Houston only turned the ball over 4 times the whole game, and then turned the ball over 5 times in the last 2 minutes. 2 minutes of the game. But I think what it came down to is Florida had the more talented team, and Houston plays hard. Florida played hard too, but Houston just wasn't able to take advantage of that first half they played, and the talent came back at the end and was able to catch up a little bit and get that win.
You think Houston got a little tired, maybe?
I think they got a little tired. I do think they might have got a little tired, but I do think the referees, and I don't think the referees were one way or another. But I do think the referees called that game a lot different in the first half.
Absolutely.
Than they did the second half. There was a lot more fouls on both teams in that second half than there was the first half. First half, the whistle never hardly blew. Second half, both teams were in the bonus with 10 minutes left in the second half. Both teams were already in the bonus, so they were calling them on both teams. It just they started blowing the whistle more in the second half than what they were the first half. But no, I thought it was a real good game. I watched pretty much all of it. I'd flip back and I was flipping over, checking on the Reds during commercial and stuff, and then I watched the rest of the Reds game afterwards.
Do you see how I did that, Gonzo?
Right
Full
now,
8 minutes. Jay didn't say a word. Full 8 minutes. I learned from yesterday. I just wanted to point that out. Jay learned yesterday, so kudos for Jay. Jay learned.
Good boy, Jay.
Hey, no. You say it a little louder because I need that praise. Listen, after yesterday, look. Let me tell you guys, Gonzo, everything you just said is absolutely agreeable. I could agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. That first half, very loose. Referees let up play the game. That second half, Florida was already 10 fouls in and in the bonus, and Houston was at like 4 or 5. And then 3 seconds later, Houston racks up 3 fouls. 3 fouls in 9 seconds on Houston. And then now Houston finds himself, in foul trouble. And then, of course, Tuggle actually fouled out. Our number one defender actually fouled out, I think with 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. I mean, and so, yeah, I don't think the officiating did not dictate who won or not, because like you said, guys, they went on both sides of the fence, So, look, guys, at the end of the day, man, this game was exactly what I wanted to see in terms of competitiveness, closeness. There was no blowout. It was just, honestly, it's 1 possession difference between winning and losing on Houston. And that last possession, they just didn't execute. The guy dropped the ball. If he had picked up the ball, he would have been called for traveling. He was hoping that one of his teammates would pick up the ball and put up a shot, and it just didn't happen, But at the end of the day, man, I tip my hat to Florida. You played a hell of a game, and I'm looking forward to next year because I do think Houston's going to, like we said earlier, Houston's going to come back. They're going to have a lot of depth. They're going to have a lot of talent. They're going to have some experience thrown in with a good coach. And I do expect to see this run again next year. I hope we make it back to the finals. Nothing's ever guaranteed, especially in the world of college basketball and the transfer portal. But I think we got about as good a shot as anybody. So, again, I tip my hat to Florida, though, man. No excuses. Florida, you did a great job. And to my neighbor that lives 1.5 acres over and away between the trees, I am so sorry for all the yelling. I saw your porch light go on. I apologize. If you watch the show, I apologize.
Well, Florida.
No, God, it was bad. I went outside. I yelled so bad. I said, fuck Frankie. I must about 10 times I must have said that damn thing.
Yeah, Florida, the whole tournament, they played 6 games and they came back in 4 of them. I mean, they were down in 4 of their games that they come back and won. So that was just kind of Florida's MO this year in the tournament. So yeah, a great win for Florida, a great season for Houston. We could very easily came on there today and say Houston won, but that's not how it turned out there. I mean, I feel bad for that player. I can't remember who it was, the name of the kid. You probably remember the one at the end of the game who had the ball and went up and defender made a great play and he had to drop the ball and he couldn't touch it. So that sucked, man. I mean, I hate that for any kid. I know he felt bad. And I don't know which Florida kid it was, but there was a player on Florida's team who came over. I mean, he just won the championship, but he was over consoling that kid. I thought that was pretty classy.
That's just great sportsmanship. You don't see that very often, especially against 2 teams that are very chippy. You don't see that very often. And I kind of think, Gonzo, maybe that officiating kind of changed a little bit in the second half because I think they saw them getting a little chippy in the first half with some elbows. And I think maybe they were trying to control it to keep it from getting out of hand. I mean, that's the only explanation I could think of as to why the officiating got a little bit tighter. But at the end of the day, man, phenomenal job, guys. I mean, seriously, great basketball. I can't remember the last time I saw a basketball game that intense and just phenomenal, man. Let me ask you guys a quick question. Do you think the transfer portal is ruining college basketball? And I ask you that because they got like multiple opportunities. Players do multiple opportunities. I think it's like 2 or 3 opportunities to go into the portal at any point in time. Do you think that kind of takes away from the coach being able to develop continuity in the team when basically a player can kind of hold you hostage because if he doesn't like the situation, he can just jump ship and leave? Do you? I don't know. Do you guys feel like that or at all?
What do you think, Chris?
I don't know if I'd say that's running college basketball. I do think it's making new challenges for these coaches, and the coaches have to figure out how to manage it now with the portal because, like you said, it's harder. You don't have guys for 3 or 4 years anymore, and to me as a fan, it's harder to follow as well. Because I mean, I'm a big IU Hoosier fan. For years I could tell you every player that was on their team,
Right.
Every season. Now, I mean, like last year, I knew some of them. I didn't know many of them because they were all new. And then like this year, we're gonna have a whole new team again because everybody left when we hired a new coach. So I think it does maybe not your college age kids because they're in college, so they're gonna go to the games. They're gonna follow the team. But I think it does hurt some of the your older fans that are used to players sticking around and knowing the players and stuff, and you don't get that anymore. I do think they need to put some guardrails on it. There has to be some restrictions because it right now it's just like the Wild West and you can basically do whatever you want. And
right.
I think they need to change the time of the portal. You shouldn't be having the portal open when you're getting ready to have your national championship game.
Exactly.
That makes no sense. But the same thing happens in football as well. So it's I think that's something they need to work on. But I think it's more of they have to figure out what kind of guardrails and what makes it the fairest for everybody, and also is going to keep college sports on the rise. Because right now, I mean, if you look at the ratings, college sports ratings are just going up, just like basically any other most sports other than the WNBA.
Yeah, I think I think there needs to be some guardrails and some changes made to that to kind of get things in check. But what I see is I think the time where we had these teams were coming into the tournament and having a lot of upsets and stuff, I think that's over with. I don't think we're going to have a lot of that. I think you're going to have more of a level playing field for the bigger teams, where before you might say, oh, there's 4, 6, 8 teams that have a chance to win it. I think that's going to spread out to where now it's going to be 16 to 20, maybe even 32. I think the first round of the NCAA tournament is going to be a lot of blowouts, but then when you get to that 32 or 16, I think you're going to see a lot of real good competitive games because a lot of those teams are going to have real good players. So it's going to be more spread out. Duke ain't going to control everything, or North Carolina is not going to control everything. So I think you're going to see maybe in some as far as tournaments go, I think we're going to see better basketball once you get to the Sweet 32. But I think I think once you get into the start of the tournament, I don't think you're going to see very many upsets anymore. I think you're going to see a lot of blowouts.
Yeah, I feel like the transfer portal is a good thing in terms of, if I'm a young player or let's say I'm a sophomore and I'm just not seeing the touches because maybe I got too many talented people ahead of me and I just can't break through. Then I can go to another team, and try to get my playing time there. I do think it's fair to the players to have a transfer portal. I just don't, like you said, Gonzo, I don't think it needs to be 3 different times during the season that you can enter the portal. One time. You get the first 30 days at the beginning of the season to see where you are. And if you're not getting touches or whatever because people ahead of you, okay, transfer portal's open. Within that first 30 days, make your move, go where you got to go. But after that, it's closed. It won't come again until next season. That way you can build the chemistry, but still yet give the players an option to go to another school to pick up playing time. I think it's good that direction. But the way it's set up now with these multiple opportunities, hell, you get almost even into the playoffs, like you said, you can go to the damn portal. That's ridiculous.
Do you think there should be limits? Because as far as I know, there's not. I could be wrong. Like, there's been players already that's played for like 3 or 4 different teams. Do you think there should be a limit to how many times they can change? Maybe just once or twice? I mean, a guy can play his freshman year for IU, play his sophomore year for Ohio State, play his junior year for Houston, and play his senior year for Duke. Do you think that's
I think that's something that they're going to change. I think that's what I'm saying. There has to be some kind of guardrails because right now what's happening is these players are those sign this NIL deal or the college is paying them so much to get them to go there. Well, then they want more money, so then they just tell that college they're going to enter the transfer portal to use that as leverage to try to get them to give them more money. And that's where these coaches now, you're not just recruiting for your next year. You're recruiting your players every season to stay. So I mean, it's not like it used to be where you get guys and you're working on your next class to add. No, now your next class might be your team. I mean, you just.
Do you think it should
be the way it goes? And what it's hurting too is there's not as many scholarships available that these teams are going to give out for incoming freshmen because you're only allowed to have so many scholarship players, and you get all these players through the portal. I heard Calipari and another coach was talking about it where now instead of maybe recruiting 7 or 8 freshmen a year, he's only recruiting like 4 because he has to get 2 or 3 transfers to try to fill a team where he can be competitive and get some guys with experience. You can't just run it all freshmen anymore. So he's only being able to actually recruit like high school, like 4 freshmen out of high school where it used to be like 8 or 9 a season.
Like at least in pro where you pay a guy, you got him on a contract for 2 or 3 years. With college, you're paying the guy after the season, halfway through the season, he can decide, hey, after the end of this year, I'm going somewhere else. I'm gonna make more money. And so, I mean, it's a tough situation. They got to do something. I don't know what the answer is to that.
Well, some of this stuff is getting ready to change because it was sometime in April is when that one court case is supposed to happen, and that's when they're talking about like the colleges it's going to be a salary cap, and like each college will have like 21 million to use to pay athletes, but that's not just for like basketball. I mean, that's for like all their sports.
Oh, okay.
And then the NIL, they're trying to change it where it's more of like what it was supposed to be, like sponsorships and stuff like that instead of the pay to play. But yeah, if that stuff happens, I'm sure then there's going to be more rules on the transfer and that stuff because then the money will actually be coming from the colleges or from the governing whoever the body is or whatever instead of boosters or whoever.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully, they get it regulated a little better. I think it'll make for a better game for college.
I thought was interesting is I saw that Cooper Flagg is going to, when he goes to the draft, he's going to be representing himself like Lamar Jackson. He's not going to have an agent when he goes to the draft. I thought that was interesting. And I guess he's doing that so that way he can see if the money's not good enough. I guess maybe he can go back to Duke and play. When it comes to Big Lynn having a shot at something.
I think he
Oh,
won.
wow.
I think he had the winner and the final score right, and he won something, I believe. Maybe he can.
He's in rest trying to get paid by the hour. Maybe about some golden retrievers.
What'd you win? What'd you win, Glenn? Did you win those Reds tickets? He was in a drawing for some Reds tickets. But he said if he won, I'd be getting contacted. I ain't gonna contact you. So it was probably he must have won something else.
I think it was something about the NCAA tournament, and I think he had the winner and the final score correct.
Final score, damn, that's a good one.
If you got that final score correct, that's
I
insane.
think he had 65.
Did he?
I believe so.
Wow. Okay. Go, Glenn. Damn. I'm telling you, that dude is the luckiest. I ain't never seen nobody like Glenn, man. I don't know. That's insane. That is insane.
Before we get to the NBA, I did have one thing because we talked a little bit about WNBA the other day. I did see where the Beckers is by far going to be the number one pick, they believe. Also, a couple of girls who a lot of people thought was going to come out in the draft have decided to stay in college, so that's affected that some. Also, and I didn't know this, our Fever don't have a number one pick because of that trade they made. So they don't have a number one pick in the draft. And the draft is Monday. They don't mess around, man.
It's not. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, did you guys see? So speaking of the Fever, did you guys see the picture where it had Caitlin Clark, I think in the final game, and it said viewership was like 10.9 million or something like that. And then it said post Caitlin Clark 2025 final game, and it was like 3.9 million. And it goes, this Caitlin Clark effect. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, ain't no doubt about it. She's had a huge effect on college basketball and the WNBA. I also see, man, she's been hitting the weight room. I don't think we'll mess with her. She got some guns now, man.
Yeah, I ain't messing with her. Not in that way, anyway. No, Jay be running. And I tell you, hey, she had heels on too. Did you see how tall she was with them heels?
Yep. Yeah, I'm not worried that Fever don't have the first round pick this year because of the trades we made.
Yeah,
I mean, hell,
yeah.
like I said, our lineup this year, we should be competing. I mean, we should be in the playoffs for sure, and should be competing for WNBA championship. I mean, of our starting five, all of them have been multiple time WNBA All Stars, other than one, and that's Caitlin Clark because she's only played one season in the WNBA. So I mean, they've really redone our roster. I love the moves that they brought in, and I think the Fever are going to have a big year this year.
Do you like the coach choice they made?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think they're going to have a big year. It's going to be interesting. Anything else on the NCAA finals, guys, before we move on?
Let's move on because Jay needs to start looking towards next year. I ain't gonna lie, man. It was depressing yesterday, Tony. I didn't even sleep good. I slept so crappy. It was ridiculous.
What's interesting? One interesting thing about the Houston team, I was looking on there, and it's impressive, especially with how good of a year that they've had and how good they've been the last few years. They don't have anybody that's projected to be drafted in the first two rounds of the NBA draft. Maybe one person, and that would be Uzon, would be the only one that might get drafted in the NBA draft. So, you know, I mean, that shows you like they have a team of experience and guys that play hard more than some of the other teams where it's getting some of the top recruits.
That's what I'm hoping IU is going to go to with this new coach. I'm hoping that's what they're going to do. I hope.
Hey, one last thing before we head off. One last thing I wanted to point out, which I thought was really super interesting. When Wilson Clay Jr. played against Auburn, he lit it up. I mean, what he had like over 30 points. I mean, he was all over the place, right? And then when he played up against Houston, if you watch that first half, I think it was probably the last maybe 2 minutes of the first half before he even got his first set of points.
Jay,
incredible.
He didn't score a point in the first half.
I thought it was the first. Okay. Well, then that's even more impressive. I thought it was the last minute of the first half.
Well, he might have got 2 free throws, but he didn't hit a field goal till the second half.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. I think he got 2 free. My point is,
but he had a good job.
job.
He had a lot better second half. But
Yeah.
Houston did a good job doubling them. And what Florida was trying to do wasn't making no sense because they were trying to do that pick and roll. And when you do that, that brings the double team to them. And in the second half, that Florida got away from doing that pick and roll and was letting him do more one-on-one. And he was able to get going some.
Yeah.
And he made a couple real big plays in that game in that second half. But first half, man, that double team from Houston was relentless. And actually, it kind of flipped. The double team from Florida, the last 2 minutes of that game was relentless.
Yeah.
And was because they were switching great on that pick and roll. Florida did the last 2 minutes of that game, and Houston just couldn't get in no rhythm offensively at all.
One thing about Clayton, real quick, I did see a thing on him this morning saying that he'll be drafted in the first round, and they're projecting him to go 28th to the Boston Celtics.
Clayton Jr., they got him projected to go 28th?
That's what I seen this morning.
One thing I did like about Clayton was, like Jay said, he didn't hit a shot in the first half, and then the 2 free throws toward the end, but he still had an impact on that first half. He had like 7 or 8 assists that first half. Like he was still making some plays to help his team, but he couldn't get nothing going offensively. But I like that he didn't hang his head. He kept playing and
absolutely
contributing to the team.
If he dropped to 28th, I would be floored. Because I can't imagine he's so much better than I was thinking more like top 10. And they're saying 28th. I mean, that's wow. Okay.
That's what I see today.
Okay.
Okay, guys, let's go to the big story of the day. The Denver Nuggets fired their head coach and the general manager, man. That's with 3 or 4 games left in the season. They won a title in 2023 with that coach and general manager. I wish somebody could explain this to me because I don't understand it. Chris, what do you think about all this?
I don't know. Something had to happen. I guess from what I'm getting, they had a meeting with, I guess the ownership had a meeting with the coach and the GM, and then after the meeting, they fired both of them. So I don't know if maybe the coach tried to kill the owner in the meeting or something, or what happened, because it don't make no sense. I mean, Mike Malone's been one of the better coaches in the NBA over the last 7-8 years. I mean, look, he's been with the Nuggets 10 years, and look what they've done. I know they've only got the 1 championship, but they've been right there multiple times. Yeah, they were 3-7 over their last 10 games, but it just don't make no sense. If you wanted to fire him, you think you'd wait till after the season. So something had to been brewing, and something had to happen in that meeting to tip it over the edge. But I'm sure we'll get some more information about why it happened come out here soon. But yeah, I have no idea.
I know they're 3-7 in the last 10 and lost 4 straight. And I know this ain't the time of year you want to be doing that. I understand that. But you still got a very good team and a very good coach. Everything could change once you got into the playoffs. I mean, on a dime, it could change. They're a dangerous team. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think anybody wants to play the Nuggets in the tournament. It don't make sense to me. Jay, what's your take on it?
First of all, I just want to pat myself in the back. That's now 2 for 2, baby. 2 for 2. I'm saying I'm on a fucking roll today. I'm not interrupting him, so I'm doing good. I'm kicking ass and taking names right now. Anyway, back to being serious for a minute. You lost your last 4. Okay. Everybody gets into a little bit of a slump like that. Okay, it happens. It just does. But you don't fire your coach and your GM 3 days prior to playoff, or 3 games prior to playoff. You just don't do that, because now you're going to bring an interim coach in. I don't know what this guy's philosophy is. I don't know what his style is going to be. Nobody knows. So now you're completely changing up the dynamics of your coaching staff. And how is that? And you're going to do that on a losing streak. So now, what is the mindset of your players going to be? I'm just saying it's a lot of disruption right before the playoffs. I think if ownership has a philosophy differential from what the GM and the coach has, because it wasn't just the coach, it's the GM. So I got to imagine the coach and the GM must have been on the same wavelength, and above the GM must have had a different mindset than what they had. That's why I think they were both fired. It just doesn't make any sense any other way. I just don't understand this ownership group. That this is the dumbest. Look, this came off the 2023 championship. I understand he took off a year, but damn, come on, man. What are you? It makes no sense. But at the end of the day, I'm a Rockets guy, so let them fuckers go by the wayside. Pardon my French. It is what it is.
Let's see our
And this is the second team that's fired their coach that's in that are going to finish in the top 5, 6 in the West
yeah.
over the last couple of weeks because Memphis fired theirs a couple of weeks ago, and then now Denver right before the playoffs, and both teams are playoff teams. It just to me it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I did see a report where they didn't say what was wrong, what happened, but they did say that maybe that they were taking those problems in Memphis, maybe of course problems maybe in Denver too, and Memphis got rid of their coach and they've played better ever since then. They played pretty good basketball since then. So maybe their thinking was, hey, maybe we get rid of the general manager. I don't know, but get rid of the coach and maybe it changes things and they play better in the playoffs. I don't know. That's a report. I did see that report earlier today on TV. I think it was actually Chalmers who said that. But I don't know. It don't make sense. I do see Joe's in here. Joe, how you doing after last night with your Houston Rockets, buddy?
I think he meant Houston Cougars.
Yeah, I said Rockets. Sorry about that. I meant Cougars.
Too
many Houston teams.
Discombobulated.
Too many Houston teams.
No. It was a rough day yesterday, honestly, for Houston, man. You know, Astros lost to the Mariners.
I know you had a bad day yesterday.
Yeah, it was a bad day all around for Houston, honestly. I was walking outside and people were passing out 1-800 get help numbers all around the city. It was ridiculous, but
yeah, because after that I turned over the Houston. Well, I finished watching the Reds game. Then I turned over the Houston game and got to Seattle take it over and win.
Yeah.
It was.
I had a good night. Reds are the only team that can seem to beat the best team in baseball. So we're in a decent spot. we can't beat nobody else, but we can beat them. Well, we beat the Brewers.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Are the Dodgers in third place, correct, right now?
Yes.
Or are they in second?
Third.
Yeah, they're in third. Who would have thought the super team would be in third?
What was impressive to me about the Reds last night was Hunter Green's pitching performance.
Yeah.
He'd only thrown like 82 pitches going into the ninth inning. Only gave up 3 hits. Ended up giving up 1 hit in the ninth. Was 1 out short of having a complete game shutout. But Santillan came in, closed it out, so it was still a shutout. He just didn't get the complete game. But our pitching's been good. Just got to get our offense going a little bit. We had that one big inning last night and had a chance to actually maybe score 4 or 5. Had bases loaded, couldn't get another hit, but was able to get the 2 in.
Who was the one that got picked off?
Steer.
Yeah, Bat got picked off again. You was outside.
No, I heard it at third base.
Bat got picked off again. So what the hell is he doing?
Hey, I'll tell you right now. Right now, the Tigers are beating up on the Yankees 5-0.
Yeah,
that's another thing that I see kind of taking this. It's like the Yankees are like this right now. They'll play real good, and then they'll kind of give up a couple, and then they'll play. It's kind of like they're flip flop between first and second in the standings.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of that game yesterday. It was snowing. Detroit.
That's insane. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Detroit has an open air stadium, or they don't have a dome, do they?
No dome.
Okay, I didn't think they did. Wow. Okay. I see.
I was reading this thing that had like it was rating like the MLB ballparks. Had the Cincinnati Reds as number 15.
Wow.
Man, I don't know. I love that ball number.
Had Yankees was like 17. Houston was like 19.
Damn.
Yeah. Who's number 1?
Trying to remember now. Camden Yards was like, I think 3.
That's a hell of a stadium. I've been in that.
I wonder if I can find that list.
That's probably I love the Red Stadium, but that Baltimore.
Oh, Camden Yards is my favorite one I've been to personally.
Yeah.
I would have Great American Ballpark second out of the ones I've been to. I haven't been to. Well, I've been to Detroit. Detroit is real nice. Yeah. Detroit's real nice too, and they had it like It was around 10th or 11th. It was ahead of the Reds.
Okay.
But it's pretty nice. We were there right after
Right when
after it opened.
Yeah, that's right when they opened.
Wow. What's that one? Is it the Pittsburgh? No, it's not. No, I'm thinking of Three Rivers. Never mind.
No, you're probably thinking of PNC in Pittsburgh.
PNC. Thank you.
I want to go there.
That's the one. PNC. Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to go there. Actually, me and my cousin was just talking about that, about wanting to go there to that diamond. How I've heard it's real nice.
But I said this. From what I understand, it's supposed to be really a nice stadium. I like Houston Stadium. I don't know why it's 19, but I like Houston Stadium because Houston Stadium has a lot of history tied into it. Part of it is, Houston was founded on the railroad. It was founded on, the refinery business and things like that. And part of the actual stadium was built back in the 1800s, and that was an old railroad station, which had the train that goes across the tracks. I like the history and that they included into it. But
here's a different list of the top ranked. This is top ranked stadiums. Number 1 is Citizens Bank Park, Philadelphia Phillies.
Okay.
Number 2 is Global Life Field, Texas Rangers. Number 3, San Diego Padres, Petco Park. Number 4, PNC Park, Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
5, T-Mobile Park, Seattle Mariners. 6, Oriole Park at Camden Yards. 7 is Detroit Lions. 8, St. Louis Cardinals, Busch Stadium. Detroit Tigers, I mean. Okay. Number 9, Great American Ballpark, Cincinnati Reds. And number 10, Kansas City Royals, Kauffman Stadium. That's the top 10 on this one.
I'll tell you what, it's cool with the Reds that they have. I believe it's open all the time. They have that Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. I believe that's open all the time to the public.
Oh, nice.
So I think that's cool. And I think also have their, what do you call it? Not concessions, but their gift shop. Their shop. I think you can go in there and buy stuff all the time too. They have set hours every day. You can go in there and go to the Hall of Fame. So I think it's pretty cool.
They also have a sports book that's open all the time.
They have a sports book too.
That might be, maybe that's why it's ranked so damn high.
Yep, probably a restaurant. I would say.
Is it the Giants Stadium? Is that the one that has McCovey Cove in it? Right?
Should be.
Yeah.
Yep, that's one that's got the Cove. Yeah.
I love that park. I think it's a beautiful. I like the scenery that you see when you're at the park. The ocean and everything. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I got to see McCovey play when he played against the Reds in the 70s. I got to see him play. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Because my dad was a Giants fan, so whenever the Giants came to Cincinnati, we went to Cincinnati to see the Giants.
Okay, I got you. I just thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I know it's probably not ranked that high of a stadium, but I like the idea of the ocean being right there. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I seen McCovey and I seen George Foster as a Giant, not as a Red. I seen him as a Red, but I seen George Foster when he was a Giant.
Nice.
Got to see Willie Stargell play for the Pirates against the Reds. Yeah, so I got to see a lot of great players play. I was very fortunate.
I think the best ballpark ever was the Houston Astros when they had the hill out in the middle of center field.
Oh, was it Towles Hill?
That was about the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. How do you put a hill with a flagpole in play? Come on now.
I don't know, Gonzo. I can't speak for the designer on that. As you can see, there clearly is no more hill, so let's just lay off, okay?
Didn't the Astros have like a train or something you used to go across me hill and run?
I think they still do. That train, I believe, is still there.
That's pretty cool.
That's what I was trying to tell them. Our stadium was founded on a railroad. It was part of the stadium is actually the old railroad depot, and that's why the train goes across like that. Is because it's part of the history of Houston.
Yeah. I wish Houston could add some history to their hardware last night, but
me too. Listen, me too, man. Damn.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. I had a feeling Florida was going to get it done, though. I was like, man, I want.
Nobody cares, Glenn. Nobody cares. We've already moved on. Different topic now. Get out of my nightmare. Get out of my nightmare, Glenn. Get out of my nightmare.
I'm leaving. Yeah.
Hey, Glenn.
Yeah.
Who won the national championship last night?
Oh, see, there you go. See, hold on. Now, Tony, I I came in here with absolute intentions of making sure that I did not interrupt your son. I said, that is my number one mission. That was my mission. Why is he got to be a douchebag?
Ask Chris what I came in to say. What I came in to say to him last night. I said, "Why did Houston lose last night?" And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because they didn't have the dog in them. Florida had the dog." That's what I told Chris.
I see.
Hey, look,
At least you didn't say I the tiger.
Man, 'cause
No, I didn't say I the tiger. I said the dog.
they like Hogan in 1983, you know.
Yeah.
The only thing that sucks, man, is these Reds games don't start till fucking 10 o'clock at night right now.
Yeah, I'll be at work.
Oh,
Yeah,
That's because you
they're,
guys live on the damn East
San
Coast,
Fran.
Gonzo. Or not the East Coast, but the Eastern time zone.
Did
Yeah,
you
I know
guys
that.
see
And they're playing
the
out-
pictures
they're
of
playing
the
out
Americans,
west.
underwater and stuff almost?
Yep. So Cincinnati's
Yeah,
down
I
on
saw
water.
I think that's the only good thing. I'm trying to think what would be a good thing about living on the West Coast, because damn sure it ain't finances. That stuff's expensive as hell. But if you're in that Western time zone, though, you really get the best time for all the games. You know, you never have to do those late games.
Yeah, but like when games start here at 6 or 7 in the evening, it's only three there. So then so a lot of times you
Go
be
work.
struggling to get off work and stuff too. So
Yeah.
there's pros and cons both ways.
Well, that's a good point. You're absolutely correct. That's why you get a transistor radio and you listen to that crap on the downside. Or what's some little things they got now? You put them little AirPods in there and you keep your phone in your pocket. That's what you do on that. That's how I would overcome that.
I turned the Reds game on the old trusty AM radio and drive around and listen to it if I'm not home.
We got that WLW out of Cincinnati, 50,000 watts, been around for I don't know how many years, probably 100 years. And yeah, listen to the games on there.
Tony, my dad, back in the early 80s, maybe even late 70s, when we would go to church, my dad would have a transistor radio in his pocket and he had that little thing around his ear, and he'd be in church. Oh, hell, for praise the Lord. I can't tell how many times, man, my dad embarrassed the hell out of me in church services, man. But he played it off pretty good, though.
I accidentally dropped the F-bomb out of church because IU lost on last second shot to Iowa.
Yeah.
We were at church setting up for a wrestling show.
Yeah.
And I'm setting the equipment up, and the guy hit a 3-pointer as the buzzer went off to beat IU. And we had tickets to go the next day
Yeah.
and to the Big Ten championship game, and Purdue had already qualified. So
Right.
if IU won, we was going to see IU and Purdue, two Indiana teams, play each other in the Big Ten championship game. And we're IU fans. And Iowa hit a last second shot to beat us. I guess it's
And not only the last second shot, the 3-pointer, and he banked it in.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I dropped the real loud F-bomb. That's,
My bad.
Yes, he did. I remember.
Sinner! You sinner!
Look, hey, at least it wasn't there like a church service.
No,
or
it
anything.
wasn't no service. Anything.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Dang. Chris be walking into the church, that water be boiling hot.
I'm gonna listen to the Reds game on my phone and Sirius, and I don't like them AirPods and shit. So I just turn the game up and listen to it, and they'll be bitching at me. Well, turn on the 70s music. We won't listen to a baseball game. They'll be bitching at me.
I listen to a lot of games on the radio. I listen to Pacers a lot on the radio.
Me and Chris used to.
Ball State games, or even a lot of the high school local high school basketball games. I listen to them on the radio a lot on Friday night.
Yeah, man. You know that I listen to the Pacer games when they're on the road because I have a thing for watching the stuff when it's live versus not trying to watch when it's taped because I already know the results. And I'll listen to the Pacers on the radio, because I live like a third of a mile from the circle where their station's at, where they broadcast that all. So,
Yep.
Nice.
Plus, I want a lot of stuff on the radio too, but that's beside the fact.
Yeah, me and Chris used to when the Pacers and the Knicks were going at it. I think in the '90s, late '90s, we would watch the game on TV, but I turned down the sound and turned on the radio. And we'd listen to the radio broadcast and watch the game.
Yeah, should be interesting. I'm curious to see how again the Astros play the Mariners tonight, and they're 4-7, we're 4-6, and right now there's not too much difference between last place and where the Astros are. It's only like half a game difference. So, this next series or two is going to be really important if the Astros, want to get out of that hole that they're in. And when I was living in Texas in the 80s, I worked at pizza shop. It's really smart radio. Yeah. Dang, that's right. John didn't realize you lived in I know you're out there in Italy. I didn't know you lived in Texas. So.
Joe, can you make some killer pizza?
Sure, make some damn killer vino.
Well, guys, you guys have anything else you guys want to cover?
Oh man, I was just trying to see what else was going on. No, I did want to say though that prayers go out to Nelson Cruz's family and Octavio Dotel and his family. Obviously they had that nightclub roofs that imploded out there in the Dominican Republic, I think is where he's at. And so yeah, man, that was pretty scary what they went through. I couldn't imagine having a roof cave in. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Definitely go out to them. That was really about the other big thing I saw today. Yeah.
Pacers playing tonight too.
Yeah, we're going to be in kind of a lull for next week or so till the NBA playoffs start. Not going to be a whole lot of sports.
Pacers
I actually
play
think
tonight. Reds play tonight.
Yep, the Reds need to start getting out of their little hole too, man.
Got to hit the ball. Don't want to waste this good pitching we can get it. We got to hit the ball.
Got a big win last night.
Yeah. If we can get our bats going, man, a lot of these 1-0 games that we lost could be going the other way.
Yep.
I think that Lakers Thunders game should be something. I'm gonna keep them. I probably will catch that game tonight.
Have you heard what the Lakers are going to do tonight?
No.
Talking about setting the players.
Get out of here. No. Of course they are. They all sit. Bunch of wussies.
Because all they got to do is win 2 games, and they're willing to, because it's a back-to-back, so they're willing to concede this game to be more ready for Dallas, is what I heard the report today. They put all 3 guys on the injury report, and a lot of people believe they're not going to play tonight.
That's ridiculous. I get it, but I don't get it.
Wouldn't it be funny, though, if the Dallas ended up beating the Lakers in the first round?
Oh, my God. If that happened, that would be iconic.
Well, the thing of it is, if they lose the game tonight, and then and I understand a lot of people they should beat Dallas, but what if they lose to Dallas? Now you've lost 2 in a row, and you lose one more, you're in danger of losing that spot. So I mean, it's taking a chance. I don't agree with it, but of course, what do I know?
Hey Glenn, do you think Siakam plays tonight, or do you think they're going to set him out another night?
I think they're going to send him out another night because it's Washington. Washington's won 60, or not one, but they've lost 62, or they're going to lose 62 after tonight. That's a lot of games, for NBA season because you only play 82. So I think Siakam definitely does not play tonight. I think he'll play likely against one of the 2 Cleveland games, and Rick will probably be looking to rest players after tonight.
That's what I figured because as long as we win one more game, I think we clinch we're top 4.
We're pretty well locked into that 4th spot and really don't have a chance for the 3rd
spot. If you bet
spot.
the Pacers this week, tonight's probably the best night of the week to bet them based on tendencies and things like that because obviously the Pacers are going to be looking to rest guys.
Let me ask you guys a question. So going back to the Lakers real quick and sitting players, right now they're fighting for the number 3 spot. Their final 4 games are OKC, Dallas, Houston, and Portland. So are you guys kind of suggesting that you think obviously they're resting them, I guess, against OKC. I guess they already came out and said that. So do you think that the other game that they're going to rest on would be Houston, and they think that they're going to beat Dallas and Portland, and those will be the 2 games that will solidify the number 3 spot?
That's what I think they're maybe thinking. But if you lose tonight and then Dallas upsets you and beats you, now you're in a whole different.
That's what I'm thinking. Because who's to say that Portland couldn't pull off an upset?
My thing is, I was just thinking, though,
they can do it.
Is OKC playing all?
Yeah,
is OKC playing all their players? Because OKC don't have nothing to play for.
They
So
don't.
they might not be playing their players tonight. That could be a reason the Lakers have decided maybe to try to rest some of their players, thinking, hey, we can win this game without. We could have a chance to win this game without these guys because they're not playing their guys, and we'll be at full strength against Dallas tomorrow.
I could understand that. That makes perfect logical sense. But I also think that that's a big gamble on behalf of the Lakers, because if I knew that OKC was resting their players, I'd probably rest LeBron, because I know LeBron's a lot older in the tooth. But I think I would definitely play AR-15, and I would play Luka and take that win, and then try to get another win at either Dallas or Portland. That gives me two other opportunities to get that second win to secure that number 3 spot. I just think they're playing with fire by doing that. Yeah, I understand the concept, but man.
Well, one thing I want to clarify. I don't think they've announced officially they're not going to play. They put all 3 of them on the injury report, and the guy I seen on ESPN suggested it looked like that they might set all 3, but they have not officially announced that they're not going to play. So I wanted to clarify that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But I tell you what, though, Tony, I wouldn't be surprised if that came to fruition.
I agree with you. I think you set LeBron maybe and play the other 2 at least,
or at least
for a big
play,
part of the game.
1 or 2 of them, or don't. They're I don't think they'll sit all 3. I think they'll definitely sit 1, and they'll like rotate it in that way this week.
Yeah, like if you want to sit Braun, and then rotate or I guess load manage the minutes of Luka to make sure Luka stays healthy. I mean, I could buy into that. But if you're going to sit all 3 of them dudes, I think that's just crazy to me. But I guess we'll find out tonight.
They've been fortunate. I mean, it's not like they're playing great basketball right now. They're 5-5 in their last 10, I think. So it's not like that they've been setting the world on fire. I mean, we'll see.
The best way to look and stay healthy is just drinking some of that Guinness beer.
I definitely hope they don't sit against Houston. I want to see a good competitive game between us and the Lakers, But I wouldn't be surprised if they load managed against us, though, to be honest with you.
Well, it could depend where they're at. If they lose these 2, they won't be able to.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a damn good point.
Well, and actually, and that's another thing with Houston. Does Houston set some, because they're guaranteed the second spot? They can't get the first spot. So does Houston load manage?
I don't want them to load manage.
Well, I understand that, but do they?
I mean, could they? That's a possibility. I hope they don't. I think we're young enough that we shouldn't have to load manage. I guess I don't want them to load manage because I want them to keep this momentum. I want them to keep building this chemistry, going into the playoffs. Because that momentum is a hell of a thing when you can go in there, and you're not rusty. You don't have no time in between. I'd like to keep them where they are, but I'm not the owner nor the coach, so I guess we'll see what they do.
Yep.
I know the Pacers load managed Tyrese back in March when they set him out for a bunch of games.
Wow.
Which makes sense now because of the way he's playing. Well, with the exception of the other night, but that's
So I was looking at the post. I know we got probably about 6 minutes left. Just out of curiosity, so I was looking at the post NFL free agency power rankings, and they got Philly at 1, Buffalo at 2. I'll just give you the 10. Detroit Lions at 3, KC at 4, Baltimore at 5, Minnesota at 6. And then they got Green Bay at 7, Commanders at 8, which I think is crazy they're that far down. And then Chargers at 9 and the Bengals at 10. Wow.
I think Washington should be in the top 5.
That's what I was thinking. Like, I don't know how they dip so far down.
How would you put Green Bay in front of Washington?
I don't know. That's crazy to me, honestly. I don't even know how the Chargers get into the top 10. I don't look at the Chargers as really all that. You know what I'm saying? I think being even at number 9 for the Chargers is a little high.
It could be. I think a lot of that's because of who the coach is.
To answer your question, Tony, about how do you have the Green Bay so high on that list, is probably the same way that freaking Stephen A. Smith sent for freaking Knicks and stuff,
They got the Texans. They got the Texans ranked at 14. And I guess what they're saying is with the Texans is because they lost Stephon Diggs and Laramie Tunsil that could be too much to have to replace. But Stephon Diggs barely even played. So I don't know how
they also lost their offensive coordinator as well. It's the only offensive coordinator that Stroud has had in the NFL.
No, they didn't lose him. They fired his ass.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying, though?
No, I do.
It's time that Stroud's had to learn a new system.
Yeah, you're right. But, man, and even with that, though, I get that. I get how that would knock them down some ranks. But I don't think for 1 minute, and I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I don't think for 1 minute that the Chargers are better than the Texans in terms of power.
Man.
I don't know if I'd have them ahead. I think it's close. I think it could be close with the coach they've got and the quarterback they got. I think it could be close. And I don't know if they're ahead of them. Green Bay's the one I don't get. I don't know that I'd take Green Bay over the Texans.
Yeah.
Especially the division Green Bay's playing in.
That's a damn hard division. And especially with the amount of additions and everything that Chicago has brought in and the coaching staff they brought in. Yeah, that's going to be a tough division.
Yeah.
They have the Texans at 14 because they know that Colts are going to win that division this year. So that that's why they have the Texans at 14.
Yeah. That power of Daniel Jones that's a mighty tough quarterback over there, Daniel Jones.
You might do like Sam Darnold done last year. We might go 14-2. Who knows?
And you know what? And I might grow a hairline.
3.
Hey, nobody thought Sam Darnold. Nobody thought Sam Darnold was going to do what he did. Nobody.
Hey, look, watch this. Certainly not this guy.
Tony or Gonzo. We could go 14-2 and win the South and host the 6 seed Jaguars, and they come in at Lucas Oil and they beat us by 3 in the wild card or something like that.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if Jacksonville goes in there and beats Indy,
I wouldn't list that, but
hold on. If Jacksonville goes in there and beats Indy, I promise you, that little vein that runs this side of Gonzo is going to freaking burst.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't be that big of a surprise.
They beat us all the time.
We can't beat Jacksonville. It don't matter how good Jacksonville is. They come to Indy.
Is that your kryptonite? Hey, so Jacksonville's y'all's kryptonite?
Yep.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Wow. What a time to be alive. I just want to say before we get out of here, Glenn, you are the luckiest person. Hey, two things real quick before we get out of here. Number one, Glenn, you're the absolutely luckiest person I've ever met in my life. And number two,
thank you.
I just want to say thank you for the cards, man. That was absolutely a beautiful gesture on your part. And I just want to let you know I appreciate that, brother.
You're welcome, man. Yeah, I figured to get those to you. I got them out of that big box pack, and I didn't really like the extra cards that he sent me, so I figured to get those to you.
I'll take your leftovers sometimes.
Like this shit. Who else's shit? I'll give it to Jay.
Because Jay will take anything.
Got cards from the college football, and the pack wasn't too appealing, so.
Hell, Chris, well, we can look at it this way. We didn't even make the shit list. Jay got the cards. We didn't get shit.
Hey, I'll bring something to you guys.
I'm teasing. Glenn, I'm just teasing.
I'm gonna say I got more.
That made me laugh. That was some funny shit.
I'm just kidding, man.
Oh, I know. I think there might be some court cults on those in that pack. I have to go back and look.
So did we get Denver's coach fired?
Yeah, I think so.
Last team played.
Hey, we haven't beat them since before COVID, so
and beat them without Siakam playing.
Yeah.
Yes, and Tyrese barely scored any points. Seemed like.
Yeah, Obi Toppin had a hell of a game. But all right, please hit that subscribe button on all social media for ESEN and Gonzo Sports Room, and we'll see you guys tomorrow right around 2:00.